Hello! I hope you've seen my cover of Lose Yourself to Dance by Daft Punk. I'm going to show you how to get around the Roland Juno DS with the phrase pad and pattern sequencer in order to get some loops going. Very exciting. So let's go do it.
Because of the Lose Yourself to Dance cover that I did, I thought that I would take this chance to let you know how I use the looping or phrase pad pattern sequencer thing on the Roland Juno DS. If you have the same piano or the smaller keyboards synths, then you can do this as well, or you can apply a similar principle to other looping apps and software. So with the Juno DS, when you normally come in, you will be in this general situation where you have the instrument up the top, but this isn't very Daft Punky, so we sort of leave that alone and we go into this button here, which says, it's the middle button, it says pattern sequencer. So normally you have the choice here on the keypad. It comes up with PRST. I change it to with this plus sign to user, and then I'll scroll to where I have a plain an unused bank. So at the moment I've got my Lose Yourself to Dance settings on user number 18. Okay, so that's in this pad here. You'll notice when you get to that screen there's a whole lot of bits of information. We're going to go through that. It's a simple version of that soon, but I do want to just draw your attention to this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is where we have select our different instruments. So essentially we can, for one track, we can loop 8 different instruments or parts at a time. So if I play through those instruments, I have the drums are always on 8. If you're doing that sort of a beat, I've got, it'll say here under track 8, it says drums 04 hip hop kit. So and in the song I use, no I don't, I can't remember what I used, some sort of beat. And then on 7 I have percussion, so I do this hand claps in the song with those bells, so that's on 7. On 6 I have sort of a robot voice noise. It says vocal 034 voc die or D robot, not sure. Anyway, that's what I do to use the solo. So that's that instrument. And then I have on 5 I have grand piano. So you can set these instruments by you can see it says piano here. I could change that to orchestra and go choose some strings or something like that, okay? But I don't want to. So if at any point you want to exit out and you don't want to save what you've done, all you have to do is go back to a different user pattern and then go back to the one you're working on. It automatically deletes it. So by that respect, if you've done something that you do want to keep, like some settings, or you've put instruments onto these tracks, you know, using your instrument selection on these different numbers, then anytime you want to save it, you need to gonna go to write. When you go to write, it comes up with the name. It'll have a stock standard name in, and you want to scroll through the letters. As you do, scroll through, so use this wheel to scroll through the letters and then choose your name. So I've called this Lose Yourself, and then you're going to press enter. It says, are you sure? Select right destination, user 18, Lose Yourself. Click enter again. It says, are you sure? Then you're going to change to okay instead of cancel, and then enter. You might not see all of this on the screen, but if you go through this on your piano with your video, then that will be great. And okay, so we can assign all these. What are these I've had 8765. What instrument do I have on 4? I've got the 260 and Juno. This is, I do this chorus noise. They lose yourself to dance. Instead of having backup singers, I'm using that sound there. And then this is a piano, I think. I'm doing... And then I used a jazz guitar here, see it on guitar, for that layer, and then I've got a bass. You can't see that on the camera, but so I'll chop in some of the actual arrangement here. You can go watch that video if you want to see the whole cover. But that's how I laid it out in terms of setting the different instruments. Now, let's get on to actual looping, because if this is my secret, to perform it like this for a video, I actually have all the tracks already recorded. So if I go like this, they're all unmuted. It's all going to play in one go. It's going to be very loud. Let me just turn it down. So you can see that's my cheat way. I don't actually loop it live because I'm not that fancy. But you can. I mean, I have done it before in other. This is actually, I have done it properly in other videos, but this is the first one that I've just decided to actually pre-loop it, pre-record it, so that I know that I'm not going to stuff it up. But I still play it in live, but then the loop is pre-recorded. Okay, understand? So I have them pre-recorded and they're just all muted. So at the start, when they're flashing like this, if I click mute here. When they're flashing, it means they're muted. So right now you're only going to hear the drums, right? And then if I add in the percussion, unmute. And if I add in the bass, then if I add in the guitar, and then everything. You can just unmute anything and kind of mix it. So I might choose to just have the solo and the drums and the bass. So this mute function can be a really cool way to be able to mix your instruments in and out once you've recorded them. So in a way, you can record your loop and just play with it for hours and hours by unmuting and muting and mixing it in different ways. And you don't actually have to have the pressure of recording it in live and then looping it like some loop artists do with pedals. That's what I think is one of the amazing things about this feature on the Roland Juno DS. So now let's get into actually recording. So I'm sort of doing this backwards, but I'm doing it so that you can see like how I use it and the capabilities of this. So let's go into the settings. So when you select the number, it changes the instrument, right? So bass, I'm going to go to guitar, and it comes up here under track 2 guitar, right? Firstly, I want to set my pattern length. So see this down the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, these little squares. This means I have 8 bars worth on this pattern length, and that's the maximum you can do. You can do 4 bars. So this is the looping length. So it'll loop 4 bars, 8 bars, or you can even have 2 bars or 1 bars or measures. In this song, it's an 8 measure loop, so that's what I'm using. So that was pattern length here, right? Over here. You can also change the tempo, of course. You can turn the metronome on or off. If I'm doing the very first loop, I would turn the metronome on to make sure that my first instrument is on time. But the problem with this is that once you turn it on, it's on. It doesn't stop whether you're recording or not, and that can be pretty annoying. So, but I'm going to leave it on for now so that I can show you how I would do it. So I've got that on. What I'm going to also do is have this down here, counting. It says down the bottom here. I'm going to have that on 2 measures. You can have it off 1, 2, or a wait note. So it means it's going to count in 2 measures with the metronome before I have to record, okay? And I'm doing this part. So I'm going to practice that a little bit first. So to record, we've got this is our transport over here. So I'm going to click record. And it's not actually going to start recording until I press play. And when it presses play, you're going to see the counting down here. This little number in the left bottom corner. It's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm in. Let's do it. 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so once the recording has gone through the pattern length one time, it will then just continue to play it because I've pressed record and also play. So I'm going to turn off my metronome now that I have my rhythm. And so I've got my loop on guitar, okay? Now, if I didn't like that, I could just, if I made a mistake or something like that, I could keep playing it and I could click hold erase while it's playing. So this is called real-time erasing. Or I can stop it. I'm selected the track that I want to erase, and then I can just click shift erase. Erase track 2. Yes, no, yes, no, yes. Okay. Now, if you're adding, I need to re-record this in now because I've just deleted it. But I'm going to do it, instead of doing it to the metronome, I'm going to do it to the drum tracks and the bass track, which I've already recorded. So I'm going to unmute the drums. Now, I did these drums manually. There is a way to do it automatically as soon as you start playing. I think that's to do with the setting here called repeat pattern first loop record. I think that's it. And I think if you have that selected, it will do an automatic beat on track 8. I've done that before, but I can't actually remember right now how to do it. Some other things that we might want to look at is selecting the beat. I've already recorded things, so I can't reselect it, but it's on 4/4, so counting 4 quarter notes to a bar. You can also go here and select here we have input quantize. I have that on. It's a good idea to have it on because it means if you're slightly out with your rhythm, it will quantize it, meaning it will push it onto the grid and make it all in time. However, if you're quite a lot out of time, or you're doing, swing or something that's a bit more complicated, then I just have the quantize off. Okay. The next one is resolution. So what that means is that the quantizing is set to a grid of whichever note. So I have 16th note select. If you're doing something more complicated, you might need to use 24 or 32 notes, or that should do. I think 16th is generally good. And strength. So this is how harsh you want the quantizing to be. So this whole right hand column here is to do with the quantizing. Okay, so I'm going to re-record that guitar part one more time, but I'm going to do it with the drums, and let's put the bass in as well. So the only ones not flashing are the bass, the guitar, and the drums. I'm going to unmute. I've selected the one I'm going to record. I've got a 2-bar count in. I'm going to click record. I'm going to take a couple of deep breaths, and then I'm going to hit play, it's going to give me 2 bars count in, watching 2, 3, 4. So it's quantized it out of time, and I made mistakes, so it's not going to be perfect, but I'm just going to go with that for now. Okay, so what other instrument should I do? This one? I'll just delete it first so I can do it again. So this is on 4, I've got the... So I'm going to record that. Sometimes where if a riff goes off the end of the bar, you have to be smart about where it ends and when it starts. So this goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Da, 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 da. So the last note is just before the last, the first beat of the first bar again. So where the loop happens. So I don't need to actually play on 1. Because I'm going to play on 8, and that's going to sort of hold it through a little bit. It can sustain notes through the loop, but it won't do new ones. So, all right. When you're playing, you can actually press record at any time. You don't have to wait for the count in. So I might just wait for it to play the whole way through. And then press record just at the gap. 1, 2, 3, 4, record. See how this recorder's on now? It says now recording up the top. So I can play. I'm going to press record again. I missed the cutoff. Okay, so that was interesting. I had that 4 track, I had that muted, but if I'm not in the mute section, I can still play. It's just that when I play on here, you're not going to hear it. Okay, even though I can. But if I bring it in here, unmute, there it is. Okay. So of course this is all with the loop selected. You can unloop and it'll just play it through once. I don't need to show you that. But if the loop's not on, it's not going to continue to play it. So you can use this pattern sequer as just a way to select sounds as well. Oh, one more other thing. This is interesting. If you go into the mixer, which is this button on the end here, you can actually change your levels. So I've done that for mine. I've got all different levels for all the different instruments. You can change the volume of each instrument, and you can also change the panning. So panning meaning that there's a little wheel at the top here and a fader underneath. The fader is the volume, as it says level on the left. And then in the middle it says pan, which is this little wheel. And you can move the wheel with this wheel here. You can move that to the right or to the left. And that will change how the sound is situated in like a stereo spectrum. So you can have it to the left of your headphones or speakers, or to the right. And you can get, by that way, find different placements for all the sounds. And I think that's all I'm going to tell you today. But yeah, have a look around your pattern sequencer. Do some looping, get some cool different sounds. Find a song that has, looping chords, like that Daft Punk song. Another one I've done is With or Without You by U2. Anything with like a really repetitive chord structure is going to be great. And I hope you have a lot of fun with that.